I'm sure all of you guys constantly are looking down at your phones throughout the day. Whether it is while you are walking from McMullen to McCarthy on your walk from class and you bump into someone, or whether you're driving down Locust Street, you have that temptation when you hear your phone buzz to see who it is. Whether it's your mom, your best friend, an update on Twitter, your phone's buzzing throughout the day. Our phones are a huge distraction in our lives today. We are always worried about who's tweeting, texting, Instagramming, and Facebook. But really, how important is it to check these updates while we are driving? It is crucial for all of us to realize how dangerous texting and driving really is. It happens all the time. I know that when I hear my phone buzzing, I want to look down and see who it is, and I'm sure all of you do the same exact thing. In 2015, my best friend was in a texting and driving wreck. Luckily, she was not injured, but she did total an innocent driver's car. My friend's car was fine, just a ripped belt, but all it took was the 2 seconds to look down at an update, and the next thing she knew, there was an ambulance on the site taking the other driver right to the hospital. My friend got lucky that she nor the other driver really had that serious of injuries, but that is not always the case. Cohen Children's Medical Center in New Hyde Park estimated that there are more than 3,000 annual just teenage deaths that occur from texting and driving nationwide, and another 300,000 injuries. My friend learned the hard way, and ever since then, I know I take caution on where I locate my phone in my car while I am driving. Therefore, for all of you to understand how dangerous texting and driving really is, I would like to explain how life-threatening this form of distracted driving really is to all of us. So, like I said, my best friend did get into a terrible texting and driving wreck. She described it as the most traumatic event in her life. Many drivers do not see how dangerous texting and driving really is. We do it all the time. We don't think that it'll happen to us when we hear these bad stories. We all have cell phones today. It's just, that's how we communicate, and we need to know how to communicate with them in the right way. And a funny fact is that texting and driving, we are all really concerned with drinking and driving, but texting and driving is way more on the increase than drinking and driving is, which is really surprising. Most states have a law against texting and driving. We know that if we get caught by a police officer texting and driving that we're going to get the ticket. So why are we doing this in the first place? It just really makes no sense until it happens to you. So back to the story. My best friend was 17 when she got into this terrible wreck. So she was fresh with her license, confident, cool, she had a car. And the wreck was caused from literally 2 seconds of looking down. She was so horrified by the event that still to this day her own mother does not know that it happened. Her mom has no idea that she totaled this person's car. So that's how traumatic it really was and how much it, was scary, and it's almost embarrassing because you think that it'll never happen to you. She wanted to never drive a car again, but she gained back the confidence and she is driving again. Dr. Andrew Aidsman, Chief of Developmental and Behavioral Pediatrics at Cohen Children's Medical Center, said that he would bring texting and driving in the same risk category as other hazardous activities like not wearing a seatbelt, drinking and driving, binge drinking, drug use, unsafe sex, and using tanning beds. Kids have been taught to be terrified of drinking and driving, and we need to get the same fright into them of texting and driving. I know that when I was in high school, we did the drinking and driving program, but we also had to do one where we had to drive, they closed off the parking lot, and we had to do the thing where you drove a golf cart and you had your annoying best friend in the side showing you text messages. So that's how I saw it, and I think we need to implement that more into our school systems today because this is such a serious problem. So, like I said before, there was the lucky outcome for the one driver, but not for, my friend got lucky, but the other driver, their car was totally gone. And to put it in perspective, the crash took place right by Genesis East, right here in Davenport. And the crash did turn my friend into an advocate for informing all of us on how texting and driving really is so scary. It's crazy that her mom still has no idea that this happened. And to advocate this more, me and my friend, we are both in Students Against Destructive Decisions here on campus. So that is advocating, texting and driving. It's not just doing drugs and stuff like that. It's texting and driving is very serious behavior. And in today's society, there is knowledge and even laws against texting and driving, but nobody seems to follow them. As college students, we feel like we always need to be in the loop. According to the class survey, 100% of you said that your friends text and drive, and most of you said that you try not to text and drive, and most of you also did say that we are addicted to our phones and knowing what's going on constantly. But it was funny to look at how you admitted to your friends doing it, but it's hard to admit that you are doing it yourself too. As young adults, we are all aware of the dangers associated with texting and driving and how in most states it is illegal. According to the Center for Disease Control, 31% of adult drivers text and drive. Despite numerous awareness campaigns, strict laws, and research, they still choose to text and drive. Texting and driving happens now more often than drinking and driving does. What else besides scary statistics can put this to an end?
That's not.
David Strayer and David Stambos, psychology professors at the University of Utah, co-authored the research study on multitasking. Strayer said that people who are more likely to multitask tend to be overconfident and score high on measures of impulsivity and sensation-seeking, despite the fact that their actual ability to multitask tends to be lower than average. So we feel confident in this, we think it's not going to happen to us, and until it does, it's a scary thing. So while you have no idea when a child could run into the street, or if somebody forgets to use their blinker while you are looking down, very quickly you could crash your car. You may think this all is in your control, but it is really not. As I look back on my friend's personal experience of how texting and driving has affected her life and now my own, it makes me realize how we need to follow the texting and driving laws that have been given to us. They are there for a reason. Having a driver's license is a privilege, and we need to realize that this form of multitasking is very life-threatening. According to the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, over 90% of drivers realize that the danger their cell phone brings while driving and find it unacceptable, while 35% of them admitted to checking their phones while driving. This is a risk that cannot be taken. Not all people are as lucky as my friend. Remember, the next time you are driving, not to text yourself to death. Thank you.